So I was on Instagram and I was scrolling and I saw a post by one of my friends, and she posted a story in which she was having a fundraiser for one of her friends who passed away. And this friend who passed away was a classmate of mine. Now, I wasn't friends with her. I had a friend who was friends with her. So I wasn't too close to her. But it still kind of hurt me because when someone your age dies, especially when you're young, you realize just how precious and short life truthfully is. And I've realized that so many people don't realize just how short life is to be crying over bullshit. Too many people are complaining about day-to-day bullshit things that go on in their life when truthfully, they don't actually matter. And in the long run, they're going to regret it once they do find out just how short life really is. And this made me realize it because she is my age. She is 22 years of age. She just died and left her 3-week-old daughter without a mother. She passed away from who the fuck knows what. The cause of death wasn't pronounced. They really didn't tell us what the cause of death was. But from what I'm assuming is that she died after she gave birth, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks after. Perhaps it got complicated. Maybe she was on the hospital bed for a long period of time. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but she did pass away. And it's truthfully sad. And like I said, it made me realize that the majority of people are completely selfish with their life. Because a lot of people live to be 80, 90 years old, but their entire life they've been complaining about straight fucking bullshit. If the weather is too hot, if their car breaks down, if, let's say, for example, somebody's using the bathroom and they really need to take a shit and they can't hold it in. Or, for example, they get fired. Even if you get fired, find yourself a new job. If you're holding in the shit, hold it in even more. You could be fucking dead. You could have left your 3-week-old daughter by herself. If you, for example, if your fucking tire pops from your car, at least you didn't get into a car crash. At least you didn't lose both your fucking legs. If the sun is outside, at least it's fucking sunny. At least you're not burning to fucking death. It's just sunny. It's just a little bit warm. What the fuck are you crying about? Oh, it's too warm. I'm gonna get sunburnt. Life is too short to be crying over bullshit, bro. It's too short. And don't get me wrong, I find myself doing this all the fucking time. I'm always crying and complaining about straight fucking bullshit. Just complaining and fucking constantly nagging over dumb shit. If I wake up too late, oh, I'm gonna be late for work. Now, I'm not saying you gotta be a fucking retard and say to yourself, okay, if I'm late for work, it's not that big of a deal. Or if I crash my car, it's not that big of a deal. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, though, is that if something like that does happen, don't let it ruin your day. Of course, learn from it. If you do arrive late to your work, why did you arrive late to work? Oh, because you woke up late. Okay, next day wake up early so you don't arrive late to work. If the sun is too hot and you didn't put on sunscreen and now you're complaining, what was the problem? You didn't put on sunscreen. That's where you're getting sunburns. Okay, maybe next time you should put on some sunscreen. But don't ever let it ruin your day. Perhaps it's good to realize why you're feeling a certain way. Why did you get angry? Because I didn't put on sunscreen. Why did you get angry when you crashed your car? Because you were being a fucking retard and you weren't looking down your fucking mirrors. But is that a reason for why you should be complaining all fucking day? No, it's not. If you lose both your legs, yes, go ahead and complain. But if you don't lose both your legs, what the fuck are you crying about? What are you crying about? If something is fixable, there's no point in crying about it. There's no point in complaining about it. There's no point in nagging about it. Because like I just said, life is too motherfucking short. She was my classmate, 22 years of age, left a 3-week-old daughter. It doesn't get much worse than that. It doesn't really. Imagine you're chilling. You have a 3-week-old daughter and you pass away and you leave your daughter 3 weeks old. You can't pay her bills. You can't see her grow up. You can't meet your grandchildren. That is worth crying for. But you're fucking dead. And a lot of people, they cry over straight bullshit here on earth while still being alive, while still having their parents alive, while they're still having their children alive, while still having their grandchildren alive, while still being able to walk, see, hear, touch. So make sure you don't take it for granted. Make sure you don't waste human years of your existence crying and complaining over things that don't necessarily matter. Because at the end of the day, any one of us could go out like that in an instant. Our heart could stop pumping blood anytime that God wants. And you're sitting there complaining because your soccer team lost? You're sitting there complaining because Argentina lost the World Cup? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad those motherfuckers lost. Fuck them. But still, you're crying that they lost? It's crazy, bruh. You're crying about it. You're complaining about it. People are literally having mental breakdowns over stupid shit. Things that don't even affect their life, like a soccer team fucking losing. It's crazy. And God is looking down on you. He's saying, you ungrateful fuck. This girl died after her 3-week-old daughter was born. And you're crying over your soccer team fucking losing? You should be more fucking grateful for your fucking life. So the overall point that I'm trying to make in this video is to not complain about stupid shit. Of course, if you commit a mistake, learn from it. If you arrive late to work, learn from it. Why did it happen? If you crash your car, why did it happen? If the sun is too hot and you're getting sunburned, why did it happen? You're probably missing your fucking sunscreen. If your soccer team lost, Why are you sad about it? Can you not control your emotions? Can you stop watching that soccer team so that you don't feel that way anymore? Because if you're going to constantly feel that way about that soccer team losing, on a long enough time frame, they're going to end up losing again. And you're going to end up wasting another fucking day of your life crying that they lost. So there's no point in watching them in the first place anymore. Now, if you're able to control your mind and you're able to control your emotions and not let external factors influence how you feel, then perhaps you should allow yourself to watch the soccer team, because now you're able to regulate your emotions. Now it's not going to ruin your day if your bullshit soccer team loses. Because like I said, there's no point in living your day-to-day life while constantly complaining about straight bullshit, things that don't matter. Because that shows God that you're ungrateful. Because things like this, like that girl dying, can happen to you, can happen to someone you love. And that's going to be a tragic day. That's a day that you should be complaining. That's a day where you should be sad. That's a day where you should be angry. When something bad does happen, when something irreversible happens, when something like your family member dying does happen, when something like you losing your leg happens, when something like losing your eyesight happens, when something is irreversible, when something can be recuperated, then perhaps, yes, you're allowed to complain. But until then, quit fucking crying over bullshit things. Quit crying that the red light is taking too long to turn green. Who cares? If the red light is taking too long to turn green, watch the sun from your window. Enjoy the sunlight. Enjoy the people crossing by. You might see a bad bitch. You might see some fucking ass and tits. Who knows? There's been plenty of times I can remember where I've been on a red light and I'm just chilling and I'm looking around and there's ass and tits everywhere. You get to enjoy the view. Enjoy the sunlight. Enjoy the ass and tits. Enjoy the music on your radio. Enjoy whatever it may be that you're able to enjoy in the moment. Perhaps the red light is annoying you. Don't let it annoy you. Enjoy the things that you can enjoy. If the red light is annoying you, ignore it and focus on the ass and tits. Now, of course, pay attention to the light, of course, because you want to see when it turns green. You don't want to fucking cause a car crash. But you get what I'm saying, right? Don't let the red light take over your day. Don't say to yourself, it's the red light. I'm going to get late to work now. It's going to ruin my fucking day. My boss is going to get mad at me. It is what it is. If you get to your job late and your boss gets pissed off at you, you probably made a mistake. You probably woke up too late. Maybe you took too long taking a shit. Maybe you took too long showering. Maybe you had morning sex. Skip the morning sex then. Maybe you'll have to skip it the next day to get there on time. It is what it is. But look for the solution, but never let it ruin you. Never let it ruin your day. Because like I said, that is a sign of ungratefulness. So anyways, make sure you enjoy every single day. If something bad happens, try to enjoy it. Try to find the pros in it. If you crash your car, well, at least you have a story time now. At least now you're able to go back and be like, yo, this fucking idiot, he crashed my car. We crashed. It was fucking hilarious. His wife was bad as fuck. I wanted to take his bitch, but now she's complaining about me crashing her car, blah blah blah, etc. Now I have to go repair it. Now I'm gonna waste $5,000. But at least it makes for an interesting story. Now I can say I've been in a car crash. At least that kind of sounds a little bit badass. At least it sounds a little bit badass. You know, you've been in a car crash before. Whenever somebody asks you, have you been in a car crash before? You'd be like, yeah, I have. You sound a little bit cooler. Whereas if you say, no, I haven't, you sound like a bitch. You've never been in a car crash? Like, you're a full-grown man and you've never been in a car crash. You've never been in a car crash? That's crazy. Like, come on. Every full-grown man who drives cars has been in a fucking car crash. Every guy who doesn't drive like a bitch drives fast cars. At some point, they're going to end up crashing. Of course, we end up learning from those mistakes. We end up learning that we shouldn't be driving like a fucking retard and we shouldn't be driving too fast. But it still makes for a cool story. The point here that I'm trying to make isn't to fucking go ahead and crash your fucking car. And it isn't to not learn from your mistakes. It's to simply enjoy every single part of life, even the bad parts. The good parts as well. Enjoy both the good and the bad. There's a positive in every bad, and also there's a negative in every good. Most people don't understand that. There's a negative in everything. There's a negative in you getting to your job on time. Why? Because now you're spending more time at your job than if you would have gone there late. But of course, it's your duty to get there on time. But the negative is still there. You spend more time at your job. Even if it's 2-3 minutes. Is that a negative? I would say it's a negative. Perhaps it's a positive as well, though. Because now your boss is going to see, oh, he gets here on time. But perhaps he could have used those 2 minutes to have some morning sex. You know what I mean? So there's pros and cons to both the good and the bad. But only look at the pros. Forget about the negatives. Because if you constantly complain about the negatives, your entire life is going to be full of fucking selfishness. Because God hates people who complain about straight bullshit.